The idea of future interstates has divided the United States' infrastructure for decades now, with some states removing their freeways in urban areas in favor of surface roads or green space, while some states are choosing to construct even larger, massive connecting freeways. This has a lot to do with suburban development. With suburbs, the density is significantly less, and as cities expand outwards rapidly, the demand for these highways increases, and since it's fairly easy to go around these low density suburban areas, they aren't very hard to build. So now, these suburb-oriented cities have begun to build beltways and other new connectors in the hope that it will alleviate traffic in their areas. Today, we're talking about Oklahoma's major plan to build new routes all around the Oklahoma City and Tulsa area and overhaul the current infrastructure in the outer suburbs to prepare for future expansion and help with current traffic. This would be expensive and could take over 15 years to finish. Before the video starts though, make sure you do subscribe to the channel. We make geography content like this every week, so if that's the type of thing that interests you, click the subscribe button so you don't miss any future uploads. It helps me out a lot and it's easy for you. Thank you! So let's start by going over the current freeway infrastructure in the Oklahoma City area. There are three major interstates that go through the area: I-35 going north-south, I-40 going east-west, and I-44 running diagonally through the city northeast to southwest. I-35 and 40 meet at an interchange southeast of the downtown, and I-44 makes its way around the downtown to the north and west. Next, there's I-235 and US 74, which together run north from the downtown through the city. Then there's I-240, which bypasses the downtown to the south. This connects to the incomplete Inner Beltway, which continues as State Route 152 into the John Kilpatrick Turnpike, which it stays as across the western and northern part of this beltway. Then you've got State Route 74 through the west side of Oklahoma City, and we're all done. Now we can talk about the newest addition to the city, which will lead us into the video, and that's the Kickapoo Turnpike. Opened in 2020, this highway serves the eastern part of the metro well out of the main city. This is an already finished portion of the project we're talking about in this video, so let's get right to it. The topic at hand today is Access Oklahoma. This is a major program and plan in the state to construct several new routes to complete the outer loop of Oklahoma City as well as into Tulsa, and upgrade current infrastructure to alleviate traffic on highways like I-35. The $5 billion plan is meant to span 15 years. So let's go project to project to complete the full plan for ourselves. Starting with the Turner Turnpike. On this turnpike between Tulsa and Oklahoma City, the lanes are being widened as well as new lanes being added. These upgrades are also meant to lead to the expansion and creation of an HOV lane on the highway. This seems like some minor upgrades, but because of the large area that it covers, it ends up being one of the more expensive parts of the project at $1.3 billion. Next up, we move to our first new future freeway in the area, the Southern Extension. This is a plan that would take a new expressway from Purcell, a southern exurb, to Franklin, east of Norman. It will include 6 new interchanges with the intent to connect to local communities, as well as add a new crossing of the Canadian River. It's yet to be started and has no estimated completion date, but the projected cost is $650 million, adding to our total. Next up, we move to the 2 outer loop projects with the east-west connector. Starting in the west at I-44, it will start by crossing the Canadian River, and then pass between Norman and Moore and continue straight for a long stretch before it meets the southern extension. Here, it will move to the north where it curves around some smaller communities before meeting I-40 at this already built interchange, which would be overhauled. This would be around 28 new miles and start bringing the whole project together, with 11 new interchanges across the area. The price range is projected to reach $1.5 billion, making it our most expensive yet. Next up, we have the other new portion of the outer loop, the Tri-City Connector. Now, despite sounding like a very major part, it's our smallest project yet, being an 8-mile highway to complete the loop around the Will Rogers World Airport. It will include 2 interchanges, being the 2 terminuses of the highway. Now, don't ask me why it's called the Tri-City Connector, because it's only in Oklahoma City, but I assume the name has to do with the more long-term loop around the city. Yet again, the completion date is TBD, but the cost is down at just $250 million. Good, I know. Next, we have upgrades to the John Kilpatrick Turnpike, which include continuing the current expansions and safety-related improvements to the highway, and adding a connection to County Line Road. This project includes 15 miles of the highway and will cost $245 million to do. The completion date is obviously still up in the air, just like every other project. So finally, we've gone over the new projects in the Oklahoma City area specifically, but Access Oklahoma is a statewide project, so we have two to go over in the Tulsa area. Starting with the upgrades to the Will Rogers Turnpike. This is just an expansion of improvements to the Turner Turnpike, just on the other side of Tulsa. New lanes, widened lanes, and safety improvements with the intent of adding HOV lanes. This is a 12-mile project, which is obviously TBD, and will have a pretty major cost of $370 million. Last but not least, we have the GILC Expressway in Tulsa, our final new freeway. Currently, the expressway is a northern route to pass the downtown for around 7 miles, but once it's west of the town, the freeway ends, which is what they want to fix. In the GILC Expressway plan, the new highway would stretch around 5 miles, following the current surface road portion of the GILC Expressway. The completion date is TBD, with the cost being $500 million. This is interesting because it is a very large project, but since it's only 5 miles, I guess they were able to get the cost down. So now that we have the completed project out of the way, let's talk about what's going on with it, starting with the interstate designations. In September 2023, the Oklahoma DOT chose to designate the John Kilpatrick and Kickapoo Turnpikes as interstate spur routes. In the city, John Kilpatrick would be known as I-344 as it loops its way around the west side of the metro. The Kickapoo Turnpike, which is farther away from the main city, would be designated as I-335. Now, these two highways are already built, so this designation is separate from the new projects, but it shows how the new freeways are redefining the city's infrastructure. So now for our big question. What is Oklahoma doing, and is it worth it? Obviously, their capital is a growing city, but $5 billion in improvements is a massive number, and it's hard for a lot of people to believe the city's in a place that it needs it. A lot of these turnpikes and new freeways are well outside the city. The new Kickapoo Turnpike is 17 miles east of the downtown, and the traffic volume is not very large at the moment. The new east-west connector that will travel across the southern metropolitan area is yet again well outside the downtown, and I don't see it'll see any crazy amount of traffic in some areas either. The stated reasons for Access Oklahoma by the Oklahoma DOT include safety concerns, with the state hoping to create safer Oklahoma roadways by addressing current needs and providing increased access to communities along the Oklahoma Turnpike network, as well as travel time reliability and just better connections across the area. So basically that means they just want a better freeway layout for drivers so everyone is connected. Is this worth the $5 billion that every project together adds up to? And will it even work? One of the main concerns is the traffic on I-35, with a lot of the reasoning stated being about that highway. But there's still no guarantee it'll work as intended. Finally, will this actually be built? The state seems very serious about the 15-year plan, but every single completion date is marked as TBD, meaning they are yet to start. Obviously, once there's a real plan and construction begins, things will look different. But for now, I think things aren't fully off the ground. And there's a lot still to talk about before they start building more massive highways. They finished the Kickapoo Turnpike recently, though. So all it will take is starting on something else, and this project could be well in order within a few years, and finish within 15. Thanks for watching. Thank you to the members this week: JL, Sir JC17, Bryson, Pol Pot's Piehole, Jerome McCall, Dominic Psyche, Rosebud4, KMS162, Jeremy Jarvis, Christopher DeAngelis, Darkbird, Elijah Pass, Big Pass D, Jeremy Crone, Wolfling73, Snyderschwein, Florida Jake, Stormy Knight, Mikita Martinoff, Benjamin Whiting, Ryan Devins, and Hazev the Wolf. I appreciate you all so much. You do so much for the channel. If you want to become a member, the link is down in the description below. All of this money just goes straight to my savings, so if you appreciate the content and you want to support me as a person, that's the best way to do it. Thank you.